Jagger 6, Watt 4, we're talking fire from inside the window, over.
Alright, hold on. Spot out with your chance. Oh, that's it.
Hey, Viper, can you see that building? Are you sure you can identify where those actors are looking?
Got it. Yep. Got it. Roger. We're going to be inbound here with 30 Mike.
Market and Lamar. Assist officer, shots fired. Okay, code 3, got the radio, officer down.
Welcome to Up Armored, the podcast dedicated to military and law enforcement professionals. I'm Kurt Delia, your host. Welcome to Up Armored Podcast, everybody. I've got a special guest for you tonight. I'd like to welcome Ozzy, a retired Green Beret, CW5, to the show, and I'll have him tell you a little bit about himself, but we've been friends and known each other for several years and worked contracts together. So, Ozzy, welcome to the show.
Kurt, thank you very much, brother, for having me on board, and it's a pleasure to participate in your podcast, sir.
Well, thank you very much for coming on the show. I appreciate it. I know you're a busy man. You've got a lot going on, and you're actually working multiple contracts, security operations and stuff all over the place right now, and I appreciate you taking the time to talk to me for a few minutes.
Sure, brother, no problem. I'll let you know if I get around.
Okay, yeah, if you get overran, let me know, and I got some people out there.
Yeah, you have to cut the show short, but otherwise the Dallas roll.
I can. It's not a live show. I can splice it, and then after the firefight, I can put you back on. It's not a big deal.
All right, brother.
So, Oz, you spent your whole career in the Army for the most part, and you were very successful, being able to retire as not only a CW5, but as a Green Beret in the special operations community. Could you just real briefly tell the listeners a little bit about your career and kind of how you got involved in the Army and what motivated you?
Yes, I did, Kurt. I was born in New Jersey, New Brunswick, and lived there. My nationality, I'm Puerto Rican. Puerto Rican, and my pop had a business in the island. We used to travel there all the time, and finally, when I turned 14, my pop decided to move back to the island and run his business down there. So we left Jersey and went down there and Puerto Rico. So kind of learned about my parents' culture in the island and everything else. Did very well out there. I was a very academic kid, and like myself, in 11th grade, I saw this movie, The Green Berets, and that kind of caught my attention about the military. And then I started getting a fever and stuff like that. So I started getting all these Army pictures in wall my room with all you can be Army stuff. But I'm still kind of young. So then I've learned about academies, military academies. So I'm like, wow, and I always liked aviation was one of my favorite things. And I was on the Civil Air Patrol in Puerto Rico, and Civil Air Patrol, is kind of correlated to the Air Force.
Right.
So we did a lot of good things out there, and learn about aviation. Used to go to the airport, and the Cessna, take rides in the Cessna, stuff like that. So I kind of had a vision that I wanted to be a pilot. So I applied for the military academy, and I wanted to go to the Air Force Academy, and so I got a congressional nomination by my congressman, and went out to San Juan and visit him and had an interview with him, and he told me, well, good luck, and we'll see what happens. So my graduating year after Christmas, I received notification from Washington, D.C. Thought I was going to go to jail. I said, oh, damn. But when I saw that little card from Washington, D.C., I said, damn. It was the congressman's office telling me that I got a nomination. I didn't get a nomination for the Air Force Academy. For some reason, I got a nomination to the Merchant Marines, and I was kind of upset. And I find out that my math scores I needed to bring up my math scores a little bit more for the Air Force. Well, I didn't realize that actually I could have attended the Merchant Marines Academy, then once the graduation, I could have done a lateral transfer to the Navy and opted for a program there. But being a kid, first generation military, I I decided to say I show those guys. So I joined the army.
Then you jumped out of airplanes, right?
Yeah, yes, I did. So I started my first semester of college believing I was going to be a marine biologist, from flying to being a marine biologist. So then I decided, you know what, I want to join the service. So I joined the army, pretty quick. I got the first thing happening, and next thing you know, I was in basic training IT, and then when I was in AIT, this guy shows up with a maroon beret on. And I remember his name. That's Sergeant de Baron. Sergeant de Baron. He shows up in cool camouflage camis. At that time, I came in 1979. So at that time, we're still using the old pickles, the green suits with white T-shirts. So he shows up in this nice camouflage uniform and a maroon beret, and I was like, wow. And he's like, hey, I'm here to recruit guys to go to the Airborne Division, and blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, wow. So I told some of my buddies, hey, man, that's pretty cool, man, jumping out of airplanes. Plus, we get $55 more. Wow, that's good money. That's all I used to get paid, right? Plus, we get $55. It's all about the money, Plus, we get another $55 for jumping out of airplane. As a private, that makes a lot of money. So we did. We signed a contract, and next thing you know, we're finished my basic training, and right there in airborne school, and I started airborne school, and it is pretty interesting there. And I got a good story. So we went from there, and like I said, joined the Army, did the airborne school, and something happened in my second or third jump. I'm not sure if I hit my head with something or not, but I guess the motor motion of my body, I just kept going. The next thing you know, I conducted a jump without knowing exactly. I conducted my third jump without knowing exactly. I don't remember my third jump, put it this way.
Wow.
And so when I'm in the ground and I picked up my parachute and everything else, I'm in front of the formation of the whole class and talking, and the guys are like, hey, get back in formation. I'm like, no, leave me. I'm okay. I'm gonna get out of here and stuff like that. No, hey, get me out. And then everybody sees I was out of rank. And next thing you know, I see this black guy. I notice this black guy coming towards me and just tears me up, screaming. And I'm like, my vision and stuff like starts coming through and everything else. And they're like, who you think you are? And you know how they're yelling and stuff like that. And next thing you know, I'm an ambulance being shipped to the hospital. So I came through in the hospital, sort of, and they say, man, I guess the medic, it was pretty cool. There was a 18 Delta going through his training, which they make the 18 Deltas once they pass the medical thing, they send them to the hospital to do their trauma training, everything else, or whatever it's called. And he was there. And I remember that was the first Green Beret guy I met, and he was there. He was telling me, you probably hit your head. So they sent me back to the company with a profile. So I got back to the company. I was company 44th company, and had this crazy first sergeant. And he starts yelling and screaming. So I didn't tell him I had a profile, because that would have been recycled. So I stayed quiet.
Right.
And next day, I'm in the harness, ready to jump again, and I'm sweating and everything else. And because I knew I didn't remember my third jump, but praise the Lord, I did my fourth and fifth jump no problem. But my third jump, I don't recall nothing at all. What happened to me?
Wow.
I had no bumps. I didn't have no bruises. I just don't know, Kurt, what happened to me in that jump.
Wow. Was that so that was a static line, right?
Yeah, that was static line. That was my first phase in. And I graduated, funny story. So, like I said, I'm nationality Puerto Rican. So, they put me with some Puerto Rican cats straight from Puerto Rico that they couldn't speak English that well, but, good soldiers. And, jump school, you had the 250-foot tower. That's one of the rites you have to go through. So, when they drag you up to the 250-foot tower, they drag you all the way up there, and you got a black hat and at the bottom with a speaker telling you, okay, we're, they give you commands. They say, okay, if you could hear me, open your legs, spread up your legs. You know, you open your legs open and stuff like that. Okay, good. That means you can hear me. Well, I had my Puerto Rican buddy up there, Tiru, last name Tiru, up there, and so when they say open your legs and you hear my command, they're going to tell you, okay, once the arm releases you, we're going to tell you to turn right or left, and so you bring the canopy down that direction. So I don't know if Tiru or now was scratching his nuts or something like that when a black guy told him, hey, can you hear me? You understand me? So he opened his legs and he said, okay, release arm number 3. And so they release arm number 3. Yeah, so Tiru, instead of making a right turn, he did a left turn and he crashed completely into the tower, and his canopy collapsed against the frame of the tower and was hung up there. So it's pretty impressive seeing those black guys goes into the emergency procedures and stuff like that to bring the gentleman back down and to bring him back down, back down to the ground and stuff like that. So it was so funny. So they brought him back down, and you know how it is, man. You're private. That black guy was tearing that ass up.
Wow.
And Terry was like, oh yeah. So he was my roommate, but not for long because they had recycled him and he left. So
yeah.
But you know, so I continue on. Graduated, and I went straight to 82nd, and a couple of weeks later he showed up and back to 82nd to the unit and stuff like that. So I went to 82nd, spent a couple of years out there in 82nd, and you know, we had this you know, always was, you know, I was very motivated, always trying to do great things and stuff. I made the rank of sergeant, and I had a good squad, but you know, I always wanted to I used to see these guys walking into PX, Green Beret, back in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And I said, man, those guys are pretty cool and stuff like that. And they just walk around like that, you know, they're like the bosses, you know. So, so in 1985, I approached one. I talked to him. He told me, well, you got to go to this little shack in Ardennes and talk to this guy in the shack in Ardennes and see. So, I did. Went over there, talked to this guy, and he told me, hey, do you speak another foreign language? I said, yeah, I'm a natural Spanish speaker. All right, cool. Okay, let's go and let's process your paperwork. You have the GG score of 110, which I had, and this and that. So, yeah, that's how I started with Special Forces.
Wow.
And,
So how Ozzy, if you don't mind my asking, how long did you spend in the 82nd Airborne before you went to selection?
I went from 79 to 85. Okay. Well, yeah, 79 to 85. Yeah, 85. And you know, because you know I probably could have done it earlier, but you know, you're a private, you don't know, and you're like scared of everything's going on, and don't do this, don't do that. And then finally, you know, when I became senior, I went maybe rank of corporal. I went, instead of E4, I got promoted to corporal. Then from corporal, you know, I became a sergeant, and then you know, I started. You know what? I need something better. That's something different for me. You know, so that's what I did. I decided to you know, go there and try it out, and I did. I did. I tried out, and I went there, and it was pretty tough. You know, a pretty tough course at a time, and went through my things, and I graduated, and I got lucky. I got signed to 37, 7 Special Forces, go 37 Panama, in Panama, and it was you know, being stationed in Panama. When I was signing out of Fort Bragg, you got to go through one station there and out process, and there's a couple guys there looking at me, and oh, you're Green Beret. I said, yeah, okay, just graduate. Yes, where are you going to Panama? They're like, Panama? Oh, heck, you get to go to Panama, because that was the for the 7th Group guys, that was the career or the move of choice, going down to Panama, restation in 37. You know what I mean? Oh, you're just a cherry. How the hell you got Panama? I said, I don't know. And, you know, I don't know. They probably like Lane Soto or something like that. I mean, instead of Jones.
I think probably your language skills too kind of helped push you in that area.
Yeah, I could probably so. You know, I was an 18 Echo. I graduated as a commo guy. You know, and part of the Q course was passing that Morse code. The Morse code, man, that killed a lot of guys in that Morse code. I was lucky, I guess, being able to speak a different language, picking up the Morse code. But I had a lot of guys that didn't make it through because of they're great soldiers. They were great soldiers in the woods and everything else, but that Morse code did not jive with them at all. So I was lucky enough to make it through that motor school's testing and pass that. So I was an 18 Echo at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I went down to Panama, and being totally strict 82nd Airborne Division, I go down there, I was so relaxed. I was like, wow, I can't believe this is real. These guys are so relaxed and so not so tense like the 82nd. So I started learning a lot about myself there, and traveled also Central South America. A lot of JSIS, what we call, not DFTs, 6-monthers, 6.5-monthers in Amazon, in the high plains, Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, Peru, Uruguay, Paraguay. So yeah, I literally I was out all the time. Really, it was real tough in a marriage too, because I was married already for a couple of years, and then the wife didn't came back. I was there by myself for about first 7 or 8 months before I got housing and everything else and brought my family down there. But it was like not having a family really, because you're always on the road. So, but it's very, very interesting, and I learned a lot about myself, about my brothers to my left, to my right, when actually a Green Beret in those days was and stuff like that. So very interesting, very interesting.
Well, you've had quite a career. I spoke the other day with another gentleman for another episode of a podcast who also has a background in special operations, and we had briefly discussed the difficulties on family being away so much, and you're trying to pursue a career, and you're trying to challenge yourself and succeed in life, and all of a sudden you're married, you have kids, you fall in love, and it's tough. It's a tough career, and I can kind of relate being a retired police officer, but the difference was at the end of my shift, I went home, where you guys were gone for long, extended periods of time.
Yeah, you're correct, Kurt. And it takes a toll. It takes tolls. Now you have to have a really good wife. Some wives are very supportive. And then it's like everything else. And you got some marriages that don't last that long and stuff. But it's a choice that we pick. And it's kind of hard to bring somebody that doesn't understand. It's some wives really cope to it. They love it because they know that you're the warrior type guy, that you're that guy that you're the baddest mofo around when she stands next to you, because she knows what you do. And some wives gravitate to that and like it, which is pretty cool. Hey, my husband's this and that, and go 2 snaps and a twist, go someplace else. But
sure.
Then some other wives kind of, I can't take this. I need the huggy every day and this and that. So, I've seen it all with 37 years being in, and I've seen it all in the spec ops side of the house.
That's
so
cool.
I did my tour in Panama, and from there I got assigned back to go to Fort Bragg. I did when I was in Panama. I did a tour of Salvador. That was one of the biggest things you could do when you was 3-7. El Salvador was going through the Civil War. So I did 6 months out there. It was pretty cool because there's only 55 advisors that were allowed to participate there in El Salvador, and I was lucky. That year I got to be one of those guys there, and I did learn a lot about SERF. That was my first time I saw action, and actually I saw action, and I saw wounded soldiers, and my first experience in United States on and on head-to-head combat engagement, but actually seeing what happens in a combat zone to stuff. I was lucky. I survived two helicopter accidents there in El Salvador. My first one, I almost flew out of the door, and I remember this Force Recon colonel. I was sitting in the engine well of UH-1 of the Huey. There's no Black Hawks, and we crash landed. We had some small fires or something. Small fire wreck, and pilot lost control, and we went down. And I was flying out of the Huey hit the ground, and the skids completely collapsed. So the Huey's on his belly, and I'm flying out of the door, and you couldn't see shit, and all I felt is this big punch from the guy in front of me in my chest, which held me on my that harness seat that we use,
Wow.
and yeah, if it wasn't for him, Kurt, I think when everything cleared up, the blades are still going, and the Huey's tilted to the right, and that's the side I was on, and the blades are like I smacking the ground. I would have fallen off, and the blades would have chopped me in half.
Wow.
So I was lucky in that one. I never, I don't remember the guy's name,
Yeah.
but I really thank him. He was an angel sitting there watching over me. Like I said, it was awesome experience in El Salvador. And that's what pretty much everybody, because at that time, that was really the hottest thing going on for all the Special Forces group. The only group that had some action going on at that time was a 7 group like that in South America, that they had all these radical, like they had the Shining Path in Peru. That was
Right.
another organization there that was going crazy. And so I got to do some time there, and yeah, it was a very interesting time.
Yeah. Didn't they have
there.
Oz? Didn't they have the? I remember reading about it. I did a little research just out of interest on a group called the Sparrow Hitmen that were doing hit work down there, and they were quite trained in unconventional warfare and guerrilla tactics. That was a scary place to be in, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, brother. It was because you as American and an American soldier, you always have your chest up high and stuff like that. Sometimes, you do air studies when you go to these countries and read about it, what's going on. But when you're in the ground and when you have, let me tell you a story. So we're in Peru, and we're out there in this place called Ayacucho, and that's pretty much the Sendero Luminoso, Shining Path territory and stuff like that. So a team leader we're out in this little Indian village, and my team leader falls down with his high altitude sickness and things. So there's no medical besides our 18 deltas there and stuff like that. We're stuck there until extraction, which is another week or so back. Even though we got comms, it's kind of hard to get a bird in there. But so we have the Air Force Commandos, we have the Navy SEAL Commandos with us, and so sort of by proxy the commanding officer from the Peruvian guys that were there kind of took charge and said, okay, hey, we still got to complete this stuff, so we got to split you guys in teams, and you guys got to go and do these runs through this part of the land. You got to do these walks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, okay. I'm like, shucks. And I'm looking and I'm going like, wow. So we brought the team. So I had the Air Force Commandos with me, and we had this corridor we had to run. I guess it was to show force of presence in that area and stuff like that. So when I looked at the map and everything else, I'm like, my God, this is not going to happen. This is going to be late ops, and this.
Right.
Yeah. So but team leader still, he said, you guys got to do that. Go do it. And all right, team sergeant was like, yeah, let's do it. So I left with my commandos. I got dropped off, and we're walking, compass out, looking at the map, going section. So I was leading the pack of the formation. I let them take the lead, and next thing you know, the formation stopped. I'm like checked around at 360. I didn't see nothing. There's high ground on my left. We're on sort of a low ground, kind of river running in between us and the. I'm on our left side and the high ground, and so I walked up and I talked to one of the sergeants and said, hey, what's going on, guys? And the guys told me, hey, boot tracks. I said, boot tracks? Okay, cool. So I know they're Shining Path boot tracks. I'm like, what? Shining boot tracks? Yeah, and they all start, they all start freaking out, and they're like, I say, look, guys, this is the map. This is the direction of movement. We got to come down the hill, go across this small river here, and go up this cliff, and once we get to high ground, then we hit north direction, and we should be going back to the camp. And they're like, at first they're like, okay. So we start going down the cliff and start crossing the river and stuff, and then we start climbing this sort of let's say about 45-degree cliff, something like that. So we start climbing. So I took the lead on that one, and I continued to climb. I looked at my back. I didn't see nobody behind me, and I was like, and it's already got dark, and I said, so I kind of came back again and saw the first man. I said, hey, hey guys, aren't you guys coming up with me? They're like, no, we can't. I said, well, what do you mean you can't? Say, shiny path rules the night. I'm like, well, yeah, but I'm not gonna sleep here in this cliff all night and stuff like that. But here,
Right.
so here we are, young American, yeah, they know, but I don't really know, but because I'm like, all right, so I'm like, look, I'm not gonna stay here. So I'm like, once again, I said, well, hey, I'm gonna go up to the top. So they're like, you guys wait for me here. So I did. I crawled all the way to the top, and it was a big wheat field. And man, there was nothing. Wheat field was about high chest, so I couldn't see nothing in front of me that was in front of me, or somebody was hiding or not. So, but I kept looking up down yonder, and I see these lights way up there, and that was the base camp, right? So I kind of got a little bit leery too myself. So what I did, I just start running as fast as I could towards those lights, and because I know that was the direction of the camp. So as soon as I started getting closer, I heard some bolts going forward and some M60 machine guns. I'm like, oh shit! So I say, hey, it's me, it's Ozzy, it's Ozzy, and they're like, what the foxtrot? I say, Ozzy. I say, yeah, what? Yeah, I say, guys, this is what happened. And my guys are down the cliff. They don't want to come over and stuff, blah blah blah. And I can't get them up. Look, we'll push a little bit forward. Get a green chem light, put it in back of your harness, so we see where you're going, because the weeds are kind of high, and try to bring those guys up. I said, roger that. So you guys got me covered. So I went back there again, and went back there and kind of climbed up to the cliff, and I told the guys, hey guys, the rest of my team is up there waiting. They got security, so let's make it to the top. Come on, hurry up. So, they all came up, and they one by one's coming up, and what you call those little critters up in Colorado, those little things that stick out of the ground, and you're always looking like they're in alert.
You mean not prairie dog, like prairie dog?
Prairie dog, yeah, prairie dog, yeah. They're always
yeah.
coming up, and they're always like on guard, looking like this and left to right. So
Right.
these guys are coming up there, and they're like prairie dogs, like this. Where's everybody at? I said, hey guys, there's nobody here. See those lights up there? We got to run out that way. They're like, what? So they, everybody's running towards the to the where it's all right. So we finally made it up there, and I was like, you got all you guys? I said, yeah, I got all my guys, and one of the lieutenants comes and tells me, hey, oh my God, we're so sorry. I said, no, man, don't worry about it. I didn't know the situation. You guys know fishing. You guys know the situation better than I do. I just couldn't realize why we're staying down the cliff. But it could have gone both ways. It could have been safe like we did here. It could have turned into shit because we couldn't see nothing in front of us. So so those are one of those crazy stories you learn. And you learn. And to do a little more kind of a rationale. And I was the only guy there. Probably if I had another teammate of mine with me, we probably would have said, you know what, these guys good. But I took the decision to say, hey, hell, I'm not sleeping on this cliff all night.
Right.
We're moving up.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, sometimes you just got to make a quick decision in the field, and you've got to just live with it, move forward.
Yeah.
So.
No, you're true, Kurt. So it's a great time in Central South America, and then I got orders to go back to Fort Bragg, and I went back to 1st Battalion, 7th Special Forces Group, great company. And that's when I decided to become a 180 Alpha warrant officer in the Special Forces team. And that's when I made my transition there, and I attended the course and graduated from there.
Any regrets, Oz?
No, not at all, man. Because normally the average time for an NCO once he graduates, the average time is about 36 months on a Special Forces team before orders start coming down for him to go to the schoolhouse or something. Some guys get lucky, and especially in those days, some guys get lucky, didn't get orders until 5-6 years down the road. But today, what I've seen is, you start getting the call about 36 months into it, that you start getting calls saying, hey, we need to move some people to the schoolhouse to be instructors and stuff like that. So by me converting myself to become a warrant officer and being the second in command on the Special Forces team gives me more longevity on the Special Forces team.
Right.
I guarantee you more years. And that's what I did.
Sure.
And then I pissed off my 7th group brothers because I heard 3rd group was standing up, and and they had the Caribbean, and having my folks back in Puerto Rico, and I said, wow, man, being part of the third group and being the Caribbean guys, I could probably go to Puerto Rico, see my folks and stuff like that. So once I was going through the course, I decided to kind of see if they let me join the third group. And boy, I got some shit from my brothers and sons.
I bet
what
you
the
did.
heck, and
I bet you
what
did.
the heck, third group, you traitor. We wanted you to come back here, and yeah, went to third group, 2nd Battalion, Charlie Company. We activated that battalion in October 1991. I'm one of the plank holders for ODA 364, the Halo team there. And we did, it's a pretty interesting time in those days, third group. We were the bastard kids. There was no money. There was this and that. We did all these, compared to the good TDY trips we had in 7 group, that we made some good monies and everything else. Third group, we pretty much deploy with MREs all the time.
Right.
There's no more high five hotels like in South America and all the money that the group stuff had. So I did learn. I had a team leader there, and about 6 months into my tenure as a chief, my team leader got moved. That was Jeffrey Talley, good guy, good man. We still stay in touch. And Jeff got pushed to battalion, and so I became by proxy the team leader there. And here I am, E7, transitioned to become a warrant officer, above 6 months in training, came out of there, and now I'm in the third group. Now I did 6 months with a team leader, now I'm the team leader. In those days, captains were really short. We were really short Special Forces captains. So my company commander was Major Bavara, and I went and talked to him, and I said, hey, sir, I'd love to have the next captain coming on deck. And Major Bavara tells me, hey, you don't need a captain. I've seen how you operate and everything else. You'll be the last team to get a captain. I said, hey, sir, are you setting me up for failure or what? Look, I'm not. He said, no, listen to me. You are the team leader until I bring a captain. And boy, I was really, it's just, bad enough you try to learn your new job, what you're supposed to do. Now I'm fulfilling both hats, of a captain and the team leader position and the warrant position. But yeah, brother, he was true to his word. I didn't receive I was a team leader for almost 5 freaking years before I got a captain, or 4.5 years, something like that. And I did very well, did exceptionally well. I learned how to work with my guys. I'm always like to work with the guys. I always like to work with the guys. I don't separate myself from them. We're all team. We're a fighting element, cohesive element. Respect's given where respect's supposed to be given, and that's how I was raised with my parents back home. You respect people that respect you. There's always that strange guy that doesn't want to respect because it's the way it is. But I never had no issues with him. Good report cards, work hard. Took my team, excelled them to the extreme. Did some good training with them, stuff like that. So finally, I got a captain. And it was so good to get a captain in the team. But needless to say, I got picked up to go to special projects, and which I'm like, yeah, okay, great. This is another part of my life that I've never done, and so I let the team. Let the captain take over, and I joined the special program, and this special program for about 2 years,
Mm-hmm.
and in 2 years, and then that's mid-90s. So I came back from there, and then they put me at the headquarters command for staff. After that, I needed a break, so I went to USAFIC at that time, became the Force Protection Officer for USAFIC. I did about 2 years there, and luckily I got pushed back to 7th Group. Awesome, same battalion I was in, different company. When I was in Panama, I was in B Company. I got assigned to Alpha Company. Did that. They put me back on the team as a senior warrant. It was pretty cool to start doing some more missions there and everything else. And that, and while I was there, we were doing isolation training for mission, and that's when 211 hit. Correction, 9/11. Sorry, 211. 9/11 hit,
Yeah, right.
and And we're like, whoa, this is part of the training or this is for real? No, we got to turn TVs on. We had no TVs in isolation. So like, what? And we got called out. And so we left our isolation procedures and went back to the barracks and just kind of stand by there, and did that.
Were you,
so being 7th group guy,
were you with 3rd or 7th at the time when 9/11 happened?
no, 7th
you were with
group, 7th group.
Okay.
Yeah. So needless to say, we were not the priority effort. We're just standing by. So
Sure.
so we continued after everything kind of settled in, figure out what's going on. We continued to deploy and do great things, and then in 2003, I was pushed to I went to SWIC and became a doctor and writer for about a year, and the command chief from 3rd group saw me in the office there, and he says, "Hey, what the heck are you doing here?" I said, "Well, had to do my purgatory, come up this way and everything else. Hey, would you like to come back to third group?" I said, "Heck yeah, I'd like to come back to 3rd group," and stuff like that. So I said, "Okay, good." I was a CW4 at that time already, so I got picked up, and he took me out and put me back in my original battalion in 2004. So that was awesome, the Bush Hogs. And from there, I was on the road back to Afghanistan with the boys. And then my time there, back and forth, Iraq, all that good stuff. And then I somehow went from 2nd Battalion to 3rd Battalion. Okay, then I did a special mission in Iraq. Yeah, okay, that's why. And then I got picked up to do a special mission in Iraq. And once I got back after that year from Iraq, they told me, "Hey, we would like you to go to 3rd Battalion, become a battalion operations officer for warrant officer for 3rd Battalion." So I went and became part of the Bushmen. They were called the Bushmen.
Right.
The Bushmen 3rd Battalion. Yeah. So I did my time in 3rd Battalion, and did there. And long story short, time lapse. It's 2008. We're still back there fighting the war. And in 2008, I came up on a W5 list. It was pretty awesome. Made W5. And then Colonel Haas was the group commander at that time. And he told me, "Hey, I want you to be my command chief." So I became the command chief for 3rd Special Forces Group. I'm sure it was 2008, 2009 when I got promoted. And then from there on, was back and forth as a command chief into the theater, back and forth.
Yeah, I think it was just shortly after that I met you.
Yes, that's correct.
Doing some training.
Yeah, 2011 I got called out. 2011 I was down in Afghanistan again, and I saw an email traffic come in that they needed a command chief for the 19th Special Forces Group, National Guard out of Utah, and I'm like, wow, I've been in Bragg since 1979, so besides traveling, I said, man, let me put my name in the hat. So I did put my name in the hat. At that time, General Reeder was the general of the regiment, and General Reeder and I served together in 3-7 in Panama, him as a young captain, me as a staff, and we knew each other very well. And I came back from Afghanistan. He tells me, "I see your name on the list." I said, "Hey, you know what, sir? I've been here since '79. So besides the tour in Panama, so he tells me, 'Hey, Ozzy, there ain't no Puerto Ricans in Utah, so you be something like that.'" All right, sir. Guess I'll be the pioneer and be the first one, okay? And so yeah, about a couple of weeks later, he goes, "Hey, Ted, you're it, Ozzy. You're going to become a command chief of the 19th Special Forces Group." So I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. So officially on records in the regiment, I'm the only CW5 that actually, at this time that I know of, that actually had 2 command positions as a command warrant, 3rd group and the 19th group.
Yeah,
I think none of my peers.
Yeah, I was going to say you're kind of an anomaly. I mean, when I first met you, they said they had told me about you. You've got a beautiful reputation as a unconventional warrior, and they said, "Yeah, when you meet him, you won't believe it." And sure enough, when I met you, I thought, "My God, this guy is America's hero right here." You've kind of been there, done that, and did it all. And I was honored to be able to work with you, and hopefully we can work together again in the future. And so they moved you out to Utah into the mountains. You went from Fort Bragg to the beautiful mountains of Utah, right?
Hey, that's correct, Kurt. Went to the mountains of Utah that look like Afghanistan. That's probably why I like it so much. So, you know, I don't care what they say. You know, you go to a country so many times, and you spend a lot of time in Afghanistan, anywhere, you know, after a while, you're like, wow, this is like home. I know there's a lot of bad things happening and everything else, but it kind of, especially for guys in my field, we kind of gravitate to that.
Right.
So, yeah, so I went to Utah, became a 19th Unit Command. I learned, that was another learning experience because I never worked with the Guard before, and now we have a Special Forces unit that has two partners, two bosses. They have the state and they have the regiment. So, you know, it's really kind of weird how it works because they actually talk to the Fort Bragg and they have to talk to the state, but they belong to the state, but they also belong to Fort Bragg. So I tripped a couple times, learned, pissed off a couple people there because I had that go-to attitude and say, hey, Chief, you know, this is National Guard. Even though we're Green Berets, this is lower pace and this and that. So I kind of, okay, good, great, guys. I can't forget who I am, what I did. I'll do 100% here. So, my group commander was Colonel Watt at that time, and he was a M-Day guy. And that's for those guys that know what M-Day guys. That's actually those guys that do the 1 week in a month type performance for the Guard. He's actually a police officer in the city of Ogden, and so he kind of delegated a lot to me. And for proxy, I was doing a lot of stuff, which is pretty cool. Travel a lot. I thought I was going to come to Utah and kind of take a pause of traveling and everything else, but Jesus, man, and the thing about being in the Guard, there's no C-130 or a C-17 that takes you on a flight. You know, everything's commercial. So, in less than 6 months, I went from Joe Schmug to a Diamond guy on Delta Airlines because I had so many miles that it was unbelievable. You know what I mean? And because everything's commercial. So,
right,
but I did learn. You know, I got to go to Korea. I got to go to Asia. Korea. Got to go to the Philippines, Australia. You know, parts of the world that I thought I never would have gone to. Because I always, like I said, Central, third group, 7th group guy. You know, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan, France, and things like that. But I never thought I would hit the Asian continent at all. So did that good. So I did my time there, and then 2016 came out. About 37 years in the service, I decided to kind of pull the ticket out. I did want to do 40, but I went back and forth with the regiment. I told them, hey, send me downrange again. I do my last 2 years downrange and then come back and collapse my last year from a retirement. But they're like, no, why are we going to send a CW5 down there? I said, look, I'll work in the headquarters or something. But before leaving on a bad note with the regiment and stuff like that, I talked to the wife and said, hey, look, honey, I think it's, leave it a good note. We had a great career. We had toured, done some great things, and I put in my retirement paperwork, and I retired May 2016, Kurt.
Wow. Well, what a career. I mean, all I can say is, wow. I mean, you've pretty much done it all. I don't know if I don't think that a lot of people have a true understanding and appreciation for our soldiers and troops that sacrificed over, even 25 years is incredible. But how many years did you have total?
Total, I've rounded up to 37.
Wow, unbelievable.
37 years, yeah.
I mean, 37. You look great for 29 years of age. You look wonderful.
Hey, brother. Thanks God for California for the tuck and nip. You go there and take a little trip once in a while, well, Vegas. I mean, it's a lifestyle. I'm rolling 59 here in January, and you know me already. We've done stuff together. You know that I like to train, I like to work out. That's been part of my life always. And every opportunity I get, I'm up by 4:30 in the morning every day, and I don't know if it's good or bad. but that's my lifestyle. I wish I could one day just roll up and stay in bed until 6 or 7, but that's not me. And I'm hitting the gym, working out, and it was tough the first couple of years. Like I said, I retired 2018. It's only 3 years, right? 3 years now, and some months, and it took a while. It took a while to get used to the lifestyle, VA commitments, PTSD clinics and all this stuff, and and you especially in Utah, there's not a lot of pipe hitters in Utah. Like if you were retired Fort Bragg or Fort Benning or Fort Lewis, the community
Right.
in Utah,
A little bit different
pretty much
element.
National Guard, pretty much National Guard guys,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
to find somebody like you, even in the national stuff for National Guard guys, a lot of guys don't live there; they're out of state.
Right.
To have a community where you could just join and do a coffee thing every morning, it's kind of tough, So you gotta do what you gotta do. So
There's quite a few companies out there. I think isn't you've got the 511, the big 511 store out there. What are some of the other companies out there?
You have, believe it or not, Utah is like a hidden secret for a lot of tactical training and stuff like that. I was really surprised all the stuff they make out there. Like Smith Optics, Skull Candy.
Right.
What's that sniper company? They had OSS. They have OSS. They have
Is that
couple suppressor company.
Yeah, is that where Black Rifle Coffee Company is?
That's where they started. That's where
Okay.
they started. You're correct. And now they're still there, but the main headquarters I think is in Texas now. The main guys are in Texas.
I see.
But they have the roaster and everything there. They're in Houston, I guess. So yeah, it's pretty crazy when you hear all this cool guy stuff that's out there. But it's like I said, there's all these young guys and all these young guys getting out and marketing themselves, and it's kind of hard for an old guy like me, like to kind of like I respect that and stuff, but me sitting in a chair for 37 years, somebody might call me stupid. Why you did so many years? But I love what I did, Kurt. I love my country. I love the people I was sharing with. And it was part of my life. And you don't see me wearing a green beret every day, walking around the house. No, I knew who I was. I knew who I am. I'm still a Green Beret, right? I'm still a Green Beret,
That's
and
right.
And so they can't take that away from me unless they remove my tab, which they haven't. So I am a Green Beret by trade, and that's who I am. And my core values are still pretty strict. Help the brother out, help as much as I can, and work with what you got.
Sure.
So a couple of years ago, like my second year into my retirement, I started a small training company in Utah. It's called OSC Global, and I'm pretty much kind of teach the civilian community basic shooting. I'm not into the monkey flips, turn around and shoot underneath the legs and all that stuff. I try to keep it simple because I started moonlighting with a company. And because I've been carrying a gun for so many years, and I was kind of shy, like, well, and then you hear everybody talking about, I know how to shoot, I know how to do this, all the civilian community, right? So I'm like, well, so I started working with this company, and I'm like, wow, I was wrong. There's a lot of civilians that don't know how to carry a gun and stuff like that. So I kind of broke away from that company and decided to start my own small company, and I keep it simple. I don't train more than 4 students at a time. It's something to keep me entertained and kind of bring some of the knowledge and the experience I have around the world into the civilian community. And pretty much my stuff is that and situational awareness. Detect threat, find threat, how to behave, how to dress, the kind of stuff like that. And basic shooting, the fundamental basic shooting. How to carry a gun, how to hold a gun, how to aim a gun. And I do get some customers that want to do the monkey flip and everything else, but I say, there's other companies in town that could do that stuff probably even better than I am, because that's what they focus. I just focus how to carry that firearm, how to deploy it if you have to deploy it, and basic stuff. So also I keep it that way, because it's fun and everything else to do some of this other stuff, but I believe in the fundamental of basics,
right.
basic platform.
Yep, absolutely. I totally agree with you. Yeah, so I agree with you, Oz. I think there's a lot of gingerbread training out there, and I'm not talking down about anybody, but there's a lot of stuff out there that you need to that students should filter, and they need to vet their instructors. And I know that whenever a new technique or a new weapons manipulation drill comes out, everybody wants to jump on it. Now, if that drill is based on field experience and it's based on reality, then I totally understand moving towards it, trying it. But if it's just literally something that someone created out of nothing just because they thought it was a good idea, until it's proven in the field, it's just a concept. So I'm pretty much where you are when it comes to training. I believe in basic foundational fundamentals, and at the end of the day, I think Master Jean Rhee had once said, when they talked to him about being a master of martial arts, he had said that the difference between a master and a student was just simple attention to the basic skill sets. So, I totally agree with you, Oz.
Yeah, you're correct, Turk. I mean, and you got to, and once again, I'm not. You got to look at some of these guys. Some of these guys, I have a, I retire. I have a retirement. I have my pension coming through, and some of these cats, done 5, 6 years. They've been good guys out there in fields, and they're using those skills out here, and they have to survive, and I don't take that again. I take that away from them. They have to survive and make money for themselves to continue on, because not a lot of guys are blessed like me and some of my brothers that do have a retirement check coming in, and I'm 100% disabled through the VA, and I leave the Army one day thinking I'm a hero, and next I go to the VA and I'm all destroyed. I can't believe I got all this crap in me, and
Right.
the Army never told me, well, yeah, you took it to go hit that wall. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, you're all right. You need to go, Chief. All right, or that. And then literally 24 hours later, I go to the VA hospital, and they tell me I'm a piece of shit, but physically my body's all jacked up,
Right.
this and that and that and that. So, you know what I mean? So it's weird, and that's what I see. And these guys, when I started reading some of the bios, these guys, 6, 7, 8 years, this and that, great, and they have a skill. They're bringing it out there, and they're teaching these folks. And and since this war started, there are a lot of great techniques, a lot of good stuff has come, a lot of good equipment and stuff like that. So the civilian community gravitates to stuff like that, and they want to be like us.
Certainly.
A lot of civilian community, civilian population want to be like us and do things like us because they think it's pretty cool. So more power to those brothers. They're out there, they're doing this great stuff and earning their bucks and teaching some good stuff. And there's some really good guys out there. But for me, I learned basic stuff, keep it simple, and KISS, keep it simple and stupid.
That's
and
right. That's
and
right.
I would love to run some high-speed courses for some guys that have a little more knowledge. But pretty much all my students that come in are your basic standard. Hey, my wife just got a gun. I want her to train. I want her to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Or a young student. I think about a month, about 2 months ago. Currently, as we talk, I'm not home. We're, like you said before, I'm doing some stuff, and but I was back home about 2 months ago. I had a student come over and pretty knowledgeable, and I very seldom shoot with a student. And this guy I felt very comfortable. And so towards the end, we started doing some shooting drills together, and I very seldom do that. But he was pretty skillful, and we got some good stuff, and pretty much talked about everything, tactical wearing, the gear, weather dictates what you wear for concealment and everything else. So he was, he's like, well, I didn't realize that. I say, bring me your clothes, even though it's still summer. So bring me your winter clothes that you normally use, and show me how would you carry and everything else. And we found a couple of loopholes that he didn't realize he had, or were issues if he had to draw his gun and go, oh my God. So that was pretty cool, and that's that kind of stuff that I like, making people aware, aware, this and that, and basic skills. And like you said, practice.
Right.
Practice.
So if Ozzy, if somebody wanted to get a hold of you out in that area, how would they get a hold of you?
They could hit my website. It's www.oscglobal.com. They could hit me there. They could hit me at OSC Global, at OSC Global, correction, at Ozzy at oscglobal.com for email.
Okay.
But my website pretty much has a question and answer and email type thing, and they could reach me there and talk there. And like I said, I'm local in Utah. I've done some external training out of Utah to other states. But as you know, I do a lot of other stuff, Kurt, and that is something that to keep me occupied at home and stuff. I would love to make it a bigger venture, but I'm diversified right now
Sure.
and doing some other things. And so whenever I get students back home, it's great. It's great for me. It's good therapy to get on a platform again and teach. And we do bilingual classes too, so I teach in Spanish. So
That's
for all
good.
those Pisces out there listening and stuff like that, they're new to the state or they want to get familiar, especially those that live in Utah. Give us a call, man. We teach the courses in Spanish too, and
That's
just
awesome.
pretty much, yeah.
That's awesome. And you're, I mean, for the most part, you're doing specialty classes and by appointment only, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, like I say, I do singletons. So like I said, my max student capacity is 4. Okay, because once again, this concept of school training I have is to focus on the student, and I'll bring another instructor with me. You know, because once again, this is not the school does not pay my rent.
Right.
Does not pay my rent. If it pay my rent, then I'll probably have a line of 10 or 15 students online. But my issue is,
Right.
once again, Kurt, is having 10 or 15 students online. There's no way you can focus on every student. You know,
Right.
as you know, as a police officer, as a trainer, for some reason you always gravitate to one or two person because something brings you to them. You know, and then you forget about the rest. And I rather have a small class of 4 students or even one. I done one-on-one personal training. They get like, what? You charge me this much for one-on-one training? I say, yeah, that's 6 hours, 10 hours of training for one student, one-on-one. Oh my God! I say, hey man, this, like I said before, I want you to get out of here and leave with something. So when we have 4 students, the max I had one time 4 students, a couple times, and you're able to focus. One instructor for 2 students, you can focus on those 2 students very well, and find out the deficiencies, the problems they're having. You could talk. Instead of having 10 or 15 guys online and you, like I say, you gravitate to 2 or 3, but you don't know what the rest of the guys are doing at the bottom. So then once again, you have to bring more instructors on deck. And, like I said, nothing against other schools that do that. That's great. They have the manpower, they have the capacity probably to focus. But, when I got a girl that says, this is awesome. You pay attention to me, you coach me, you took the fear away from me, had of controlling a firearm. I say, yeah, it makes me feel good. It makes me feel good. And trust me, I've done some even up to 8 hours of training for the same price because when I see the student has issues and problems, as long as you have the time, I'm there for you. I'm there.
Certainly.
OSC Global is there for you to make
Well,
sure you get the stuff squared away. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So,
that,
and a lot of people say, hey, you're losing money, but hey, it's it keeps me going, it keeps me entertained, and what the heck.
right. Well, the 1 to 5, 1 to 4, 1 to 5 student instructor ratio is for the most part what we used when we were doing ground mobility training for SOCOM, and that ratio is, in my opinion, ideal because, again, like like you were talking about, when you get too many students, you have maybe 1 or 2 that are lacking, skills, and you have to focus on them, and sometimes everybody else is kind of put on the back burner. So, I totally understand. So, Oz, I got a few questions for you, if you don't mind answering. What do you miss? What do you miss about being in the Army?
What I miss about being in the Army is the camaraderie. Okay, the Army is a great organization. It's a beast. And within the organization you have people, and sometimes you get people that are not fitted for the organization, as you probably know, and it kind of makes the organization, stains the organization because you got the wrong people in there. But the good thing about it in the military, they recycle too. It's not like you live in a corporate world and you have that boss for the rest of your life, almost. As you quit. The recycle issue for officers and everything, Army, is every 2 years. So if you get some guy that's not really up to par or whatever, he's out of there 2 years. Same thing. Non-commissioned officers, we stay. Me as a former one, and one time we stay longer in the positions and stuff like that. But still, I miss that camaraderie, especially in the Green Berets. When you got a team of 12, 10 guys living together for so much. It's just like a couple. You hate you. Don't get me wrong. It ain't all peachy and beautiful. There's always this disgruntled guy or here and there and this and that. But at the end, when it comes to make that band of the hand, we are a tip of the spear fighting machine. There's no doubt in my mind that we can overcome anything that we put ourselves together as a team. But like everything else, like a marriage couple, we all have issues and problems. But I miss that camaraderie. That joking around, coming every morning to the team room, or when I was in the team room and hearing the guys' stories from the night before, especially the single guys, you're like, what? Holy smoke, and all this great stuff, you know what I mean? And so you're like, man, oh my God, so it's a good, cool guy, all this great stuff out there, you know what I mean? And so you kind of miss that, and then the great leadership. You run into some really, really good leaders out there, good guys, good-hearted people, and like I said, nothing's perfect. You still got the knuckleheads out there. But that's one of the biggest things, that camaraderie, that brotherhood, which I still retain. As you know, you and I stay in contact all the time, and
sure.
I try to stay in contact as much as I can with my brothers out there. And I am on LinkedIn, but I'm a LinkedIn disaster. Today I was answering like almost 200 congratulation things that they hit me about 2 months ago. So I was like, oh my God, I feel bad, But it's good. And then when the wife and I have we have a Facebook account, and we see some good posting of guys coming back and saying some good stuff that I was not, I had like one of my warrants, and I was just drill this guy, say, man, you got to do this, I'm doing this for your career, you have to move out, you got to be focused. And he always was fighting me. And about a year ago, I got this long email from him, and it almost brought me to tears. I was like, it's like, this guy's actually telling me, I was a bonehead, I didn't listen to you, now I know what you was talking about, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, wow, and he's doing great, and he's BPM or BP of some corporation out there, and we always stays in touch. And but yeah, that caught me completely off guard. And I say, what's this? Somebody's tearing me a new ass after I retire? But no, this is like a very very positive, warming email coming from this individual.
He was sending you accolades, and you must have really, touched him a certain way that made him reach out to you like that. And it's obvious that your leadership skill and your ability, not only as an NCO but then as a warrant officer, touched a lot of people in your years of service.
Yeah. You don't realize that, brother, until you get these radical comments coming back, and you're like, whoo. I was a leader, but I was honest and fair leader. Okay. I work hard. I work with my boys, and at the end, I work with the ladies, because once you're at the group level, there's females there too, female soldiers. But I treat everybody with respect, courtesy, and I was amazed. How much feedback I got, from positive feedback. And I still get guys calling me chief. I'm like, hey, bro, I'm retired. No, you're still chief. Okay, whatever. All right. So it's cool. It's cool when things like that happen, Kurt. Especially when you get some officers coming talking to you, like, wow, you did this, you did that. I realized that. So inside me, our leaders, they say, well, our leaders are born, or leaders are made. I'm not sure because growing up I was a regular average Joe, and I guess when you get put into the position to do things, that comes out, and like I said, it's I learned a lot about myself, Kurt.
Mm-hmm. Well, you've got a hell of a career, and you have all of my respect, sir. I wish I would have met you a little bit earlier in life, and we could have spent a bit more time together. But who knows where the road will take
Yeah,
us in the future?
yeah, we still got a lot of years, brother. We still got a
Yeah,
lot of years
yeah.
together.
God willing, God willing. So,
Yeah, you're correct. You're correct.
couple questions for you, Oz. What's your favorite handgun?
You know, I, I'm a Glock and a Sig guy. Okay, I'm pretty much a Glock guy, but when that 320 came out, I kind of gravitated to the 320. So I go from both.
Mm-hmm.
I go from both. I like both weapon systems. The Glock is a very reliable pistol. A lot of modification, a lot of things to do. I save bullets. I did a conversion on my Gen 4 to a 22. I got a 22 kit. I use that a lot. And even though 9 millimeters are not that expensive, but it's pretty cool, especially when you're doing some training. And I always use that as a training tool when I start students. Hey, this is a Glock, but we're gonna do some 22s. What 22s? And the students like, yeah, let's roll this for a bit so you can see, wow, the difference. Now they're like, wow, this is good, because a lot of my students do come with Glocks, which is pretty cool. And
Mm-hmm.
so I bring that on deck, and they're like, wow, I didn't know. I say, yeah, you could. Yeah, it's going to cost you about $300 to buy the upper and everything else, but you should, with a box of 500 rounds for 22, like what, $15 or something like that. So,
Right, right.
so you could, long, so you can do some good training with that. So yeah,
Sure.
I think I say Glock and Sig.
Okay. All right. Well, that's fair. That both fine weapon systems. How about your go-to rifle?
My go-to rifle, the AR has been always my go-to rifle since the Army, and I started with that long musket when I first came in, and then when you know what I'm talking about, right? So that A1 big thing.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
there's no way to strap that thing around your body because it always smack you somewhere, and and then I went to Spec Ops, and I gravitated to the 10 5-inch barrel M4. And
Sure.
I stayed with the AR. I do like the AR, and that's what I use. I'm actually gravitating to the pistol type AR. It's closest thing you're gonna get to SBR.
Sure. Sure.
Which I actually apply a couple of times for. I actually have an SBR stamp for a lower that I like, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, uh, uh, difference, you can put a hand grip on front, but those AR pistols, now actually you can shoulder an AR pistol. I mean, on your shoulder,
Sure.
it's pretty cool. So, I think that's,
Yeah.
it meets the standard, brother.
Yeah. I
It
think.
meets the standard.
Yeah. Great. I think the ATF is, and don't quote me on this, but they've talked about the wrist brace. We know it's a butt stock. I mean, it is a butt stock. It's just way around, being able to put a buttstock style wrist brace on a short barreled rifle, aka pistol. But
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
so
And engineering ingenuity is awesome. I mean, they have some out there that look like a bus stock, and
yeah,
makes your AR looks much cooler. You know what I mean?
yep,
What's that?
yep,
SBR Tactical creates one. I think it's SBR. I think it is.
yep, yeah.
SBR.
And as soon
That
as
collapsible one.
right, and as soon as we come back after this short break, we're going to talk about the Warlock. Yeah, so yeah, the AR platform is a fine weapon. How about and I kind of already know this, but how about your go-to vehicle? Zombie apocalypse go-to vehicle.
Brother, I do have a Ford 250 diesel. That's my beast. That's my tank. I got
Mm-hmm.
a thing rigged out that pretty bad. But that's pretty much when you got some nice trails. But I actually, as we talked in the past, I consulted you many times of what smaller vehicle should I get, and I did purchase a Jeep, and
Mm-hmm.
and and that is pretty much, if I had to go to some of the stuff, I use the Jeep the way I have it rigged right now.
Sure.
Both of my vehicles are TAC ready to a certain
Sure.
extent, so they're prepared. I got them for that overland procedures. I do spend some money on them and getting them ready because you never know what vehicle you're going to be in when something happens, right?
That's right.
Even if you have I don't want to sound cocky, but not everybody has two tactical vehicles, or somebody might have a Jeep, might have a regular car. But
Right.
I normally travel either on the Jeep or on my 250, and so both of them are off-road capable. Both of them have to be ready. And thank you to you for connecting me with Bubba Ropes, my recovery systems. Thank you very much, sir. And that's what I use my vehicle. It's a Bubba Rope system for my recovery system on my vehicle. So
Sure.
I have them pretty much rigged to that.
Got your kinetic energy ropes and your V-Track from Mil-Spec Plastics, and
oh yeah, that's coming up in the future. Yeah, hopefully
yeah.
when those tracks come push out, the market for those things, they're gonna hopefully supersede the ARB on strength and durability. So we'll see on that. Thank you for bringing that up here, since we're affiliated. I am affiliated with Mil-Spec Plastic. Yeah,
That's right. Yeah, great people, and hopefully I'm going to be able to eventually get everybody on the podcast for an interview. Big Marty, and I want to talk to Nate Love, who is the inventor of the Warlock weapon system, which that thing is just totally badass.
Oh yes, Nate. Great cat, ingenuity. Army infantry guy. Got out as an E4. Had this invention. I met him like 2 years in SHOT Show, and went through 2 years in SHOT Show. And we've become really good friends, and I love that Warlock system. It's a multi-caliber system with one lower. Yeah, people go, well, multi-caliber. Okay, well, you do have to change the bolt face on some of your systems, but still, what you get for what you get to convert an AR and shoot 2-3 different calibers to there is pretty good. But once again, all weapon guys, it's like car guys. All weapon guys are picky. This and that, and no objections against that. Everybody has their flavors. But I think the Warlock system is especially keeping the zero the way it does. It's awesome system, Kurt. Awesome.
Yeah, I've never shot it, but I've seen it, and then I met Nate through you, but I was extremely impressed with the quality of the manufacturing, the machining and the work that's put into it, and then the speed and the ease that they can change that upper on that into another caliber is incredible.
Oh yeah, it is, and once you got the training and everything else, so to get used to it, it's good. So now I carry my bag. I could carry a 300. I could carry a 5.6. I could carry a 6.8 if I want to. 300 black was pretty much the 300 black. 300 black. 3 different barrels. If I want to reach out, touch somebody. So it's a good system, and I have a couple ARs rigged with that. I plan to do a pistol version of them. I think it's pretty cool. Pistol version of that system, of the Warlock
I'd like to see that. That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, once I get it built, I'll send you some pictures. But I think that's pretty cool because I could go from short defense to reach out and touch someone. So
yeah, absolutely.
I have to.
Well, I want to thank you, Oz, for giving me some of your time. I know that you're busy and you've got a lot of stuff going on out there right now, but I wanted to get you on the show because I have a lot of respect for you, and I've known you for many years now, and you're one on my list that I look up to, and I certainly appreciate you spending some time with me.
No, Kurt, I appreciate you, brother, and I thank you for being part of my family since we met a couple years back ago. I think we've known each other for years because the relationship we have is for such short a period of time. It's very deep. So that respect we have and the way we could converse with each other, like we know each other for many years. So that's good, brother. I thank you, and I appreciate your service, which you did to our community as a law enforcement officer for all these years. Like you said, yeah, you came home every night, but guess what? You were subjected to 8 or 10, 12 hours of nonsense and stupidity that goes out there and exposing your life for the civilian community. So I salute you for that, my brother, and your family are hanging in there for you. And like I said, it's been awesome and it's great. And thank you for having me on deck. And for all the folks out there, you know, this has come from the bottom of my heart. Your first responders, you know, Leo guys, your Army guys, your military folks, your fire department, stuff like that. You know, we all serve. We're all serving a community. You know, some of us serve at different levels and stuff like that. Please have respect for them. I've seen a lot of videos about the police officers these days, about the disrespect to the police officers. It kind of hurts me a lot because you know, these guys are out there for you, and yeah, there is some stupidity stuff that happens, but not everybody's like that, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen. So, you know, please respect those first responders that are out there. They're out there because they love to serve the community. They love to serve us.
Well spoken, sir. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. The press will leave there, my brother. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, brother. Bye.
Yeah.
Just a real quick note. My apologies for the echo. That was an interview that was conducted from the top of a mountain on his end, and he was on a cell phone. So we'll try and mitigate that in the future. Thank you for listening to the Up Armored Podcast. Until next time, stay safe, keep moving forward, and Raptor on.
For every soul from every war across the seas or on our shore, for every fold of our flag, from the coffins are lit to the widow's lap, for every daughter and every son, the price was paid for everyone. So remember him, cherish his name, as your freedom reigns. From his final breath, our flag still flies. Said the blood of heroes never dies. So for every soul from every war across the seas or on our shore, for every fold of our flag, from coffins lit to the widow's lap, for every daughter and every son, the price was paid for everyone. So remember him, cherish his name, 'cause your freedom reigns. From his final breath, our flag still flies. So it is said, the blood of heroes never dies. For every soul from every war across the seas, run our shore, for every daughter, every son, the price was paid for everyone. So remember him, cherish his name, your freedom reigns.